Welcome to my murder mystery write-along series where we'll be writing a novel together from scratch. I'm also going to cover the basic building blocks that make up a novel, which means that this series is perfect for beginners, so it won't matter if you're 10 or 110 years old. It's also great for writers who want to apply a bit more structure to their writing process. And if you're ready at any level to start writing your own story, you can use this series to write alongside me. You don't need to know anything about the writing process because you'll learn it all right here in action and in real time. I'm talking everything from coming up with ideas for a brand new story to visualizing and creating characters, settings, and plots. We'll explore how to incorporate themes, symbols, and motifs and cover the basics of writing a novel in my accompanying series. This will cover established writing concepts as and when we encounter them as part of our murder mystery writing process. Together, we'll create our very own murder mystery beat sheet and we'll cover the classic murder mystery story structure. We'll write our first and second drafts together to cover the major editing hurdles new writers face, which is developmental or structural editing, as well as editing for pacing and flow. Whatever we need to make every word count, every scene pop, and our story an unforgettable one. And by the end, we'll have an almost completed manuscript that hits all the beats of the classic murder mystery genre. You'll be able to follow along and either write the story with me or write your own story alongside mine. So if you've ever had an idea that you couldn't get out of your head, or if you've already saved some ideas to your voice notes, notes app, a Word document, or scribbled them down on a piece of paper, now is the time to get them ready. Even if you haven't written anything, we're starting from level 0, and this series is meant to be informative and relaxed to get you to start thinking like the writer you already are without feeling as though you need to be at a certain level. The most important thing to remember is that we don't need to know anything right now about how to write a book or even the story we're about to start writing. We just need to feel inspired enough to take that first step. So we begin here in phase 1, or the idea generation phase, where we'll cover everything from how to come up with story ideas to how we want it to feel or its aesthetic. We'll do visualization exercises to create our setting, the plot, and our characters, as well as to imagine conversations or dialogue. And we'll begin to explore the concepts and themes we want to include in our story. We'll also start our character sheets here, and we'll add to them as we go along and as our characters start doing their thing and come alive organically as the story unfolds. But first, housekeeping. If you're worried about any requirements or prerequisites, you don't have to because there are none. You don't need to have written anything or know anything about the writing process because we'll cover all the basics in my accompanying series called Writing 101 Novel Basics. So every time an already established writing concept comes up, like basic story structure for instance, I will do two things. Firstly, I'll address it there and then in its simplest form in the murder mystery write-along video. And secondly, I'll publish it separately under the Writing 101 Novel Basics as a standalone video with extra details and comprehensive examples that you'll be able to understand even if you're not following the murder mystery write-along series. So you can easily follow this murder mystery write-along and especially the Novel Basics series if you are over 10 years old. My approach will resonate with anyone who feels an innate need to express themselves through writing and storytelling. I think the most important question right now is whether or not the techniques we use to write this murder mystery will apply to any other genre. And the answer is absolutely, because the writing process is the writing process, and how we come up with ideas for our story and characters and put it together and work through a first draft, second draft, and edit is the same no matter what we're writing. So as we go through the process of writing this murder mystery, I'll make sure to flag where deviations might arise for the different genres so you can apply them accordingly to your story. Because what I want to demonstrate is a way of thinking about how to come up with ideas and transform them into viable stories that's genre inclusive. My aim is to get you to begin to think like a writer. Believe it or not, it's not really about writing a murder mystery. The reason I chose a murder mystery is because I'd never been interested in the genre or read anything in it, and I wanted to demonstrate that you can write in whatever genre you want to, no matter how new you are to it. So you're in the right place if you're passionate about telling stories but don't know how to get started. I'll show you how to get started, stay the course, keep yourself inspired, and finally finish your manuscript. Stay tuned for part 1, where I demonstrate how to add descriptive headings using one of the ideas that I wrote for my story. Adding descriptive headings to our raw ideas is probably one of the most useful tools you'll ever learn in this write-along series. They'll make sure that we're always organized and that we can find every idea we've written across all our stories. It's a tiny investment now to yield exponential returns later on. It doesn't matter if these ideas are half-baked or even if they're single words that act as reminders to research concepts for our story at a later stage. It will create a repository of ideas that we can access at any stage of the writing process, especially if our initial storylines and plot points don't pan out the way we originally envisioned.